The greats needed help. Ramses had Seti. Plato had Socrates. The greats needed help. Bruce Lee had Ip Man. Mike Tyson had Customato. The greats needed help. Hercules had Zeus. Simba had Mufasa. Harry Potter had Dumbledore. Skywalker had Yoda. Whether fiction or non-fiction, the story is known. There's one thing that's always remained true, and that's the greats have needed help. The help's come in the form of mentorship. See, mentorship has been a guiding light, helping humans since the beginning of time to actualize their potential. Helping humans deal with the lowest of lows, the trials and the tribulations, the challenges and obstacles, but also there to celebrate success and impart knowledge. Also there to celebrate the success and impart knowledge. I'm sure here today you can think of somebody in your life that said something to you, that did something to you, and even in death you remember that. See, I don't want to be morbid, but our time is limited on this world. But through the power of mentorship, through our legacy, our values and ideals can live on, as long as we're willing and conscious to pass it on. See, life has been coined of that of a race. They say this race is more like a marathon than a sprint, and I completely agree, but I would add a race onto that and say it's more like a relay. See, the baton that we pass on in this relay contains our knowledge, our experience, and our expertise. And whether we want to or not, we will pass on a baton. So what I want to really do with this talk is explore and implore you to really be intentional about what you're going to pass on and who you're going to pass it on to. So I want to take a moment for all of you to think, for not too long, so I don't have that much time here, but really think about someone that passed on a baton to you. And that can be positive or negative, but really think about what was passed on. Then more importantly, what I really want you to think about today, and this is, if anything from this talk, what I really want to get through to you is, what does the baton passed on, what's it going to look like, the baton that you pass on? What knowledge, what expertise, what experiences can you pass on to guide the next generation, a colleague or a loved one? See, for myself, the first mentor I had in my life, and one of the first situations I remember them talking about, was my mom. See, as parents, we can be mentors too. And that race it seems like a daily sprint and a marathon, but we wouldn't have it any other way. We love it. See, my mom as my mentor gave me so many valuable lessons, but there's one that stands out in particular. 6 years old, I will never forget. My teacher called me, I was in the meeting too, me and my mom into a room, my classroom. And she said to my mom, your son, he's abnormally quiet and I think something might be wrong with him, right? That was literally what was said. I remember sitting there, she's not talking to me, she's talking to my mom. My mom said, okay, so what exactly is wrong with him? She said, he's abnormally quiet. And she said, okay, so does that mean he hasn't got a friendship group? And she said, yeah, he has a few friends. I'd like to think I have a few more. He has a few friends. And it's like, okay, is he not doing his work? She said, yeah, he's doing his work. So my mom was like, I don't really get the problem. I don't know why I'm in this meeting. Come on, Daryl, let's go. We walked out. 2-3 weeks later, we had an English test, and I came second in that English test out of the whole year group, right? And I never heard from this teacher again about me being abnormally quiet. She never brought my mom in and said, actually, you know what, I was wrong. But the lesson really there was from my mom. I remember it like yesterday. And this is how what we say can live on forever, right? Words and things we do to our children or others can live on. 6 years old I was. I'm a bit older than that now. So we was in the kitchen, and my mom said to me, do you see, Daryl, like, these are the results you got. You know, as parents, you pin it on the fridge. She was like, do you remember that meeting we had before? And I said, yeah, Mom, I remember what the teacher said about me. And she was like, Daryl, never conform to other people's idea of what success looks like. That stayed with me. Like, regardless of skin color, dialect, environment, like, we can all attain success. She said, Daryl, you have your own process. You're creative. You do what you do. If you're quiet, you're quiet. I don't think since that day I've been quiet, but I was quiet. But what she taught me, though, was just be the authentic you. And I'm here now at 33 years old, largely due to that lesson. So a shout out and thank you to my mom. That's mentor 1. Mentor 2, my dad. So I'm just going to pick my parents as mentors. My dad didn't live with me, but he understood the importance of the community that he was from. We have kind of structured activity. And he got me involved in so many things. And one of the things he got me involved in was martial arts at about 8 years old. After about 3 weeks, we was driving back from martial arts, and I turned to my dad, I said, Dad, like, I don't enjoy this. Like, if there's any naysayers of martial arts, like, at that age, I've got it. Like, Dad, I don't enjoy it. I'm doing press-ups at the start. They're making us run around the ring 10 times. I'm fighting my brother. It's sparring. But I'm fighting my brother. Like, I don't even fight him at home. Like, Dad, I don't want to do it. My dad turned to me, and again, I remember it was his Peugeot 106, I believe it was. And he turned to me and said, you know what, Daryl, I hear everything you're saying, but you're doing this for 12 months. That 12 months turned into 25 years, and martial arts now is a key foundational part of me. A part of me that has transformed me as a parent, as a human being, as a leader, every essence of me. So my dad passed on that experience, that baton of experience to me. See, with experience, that's one baton that we all have experience. Some are older, some are younger, it doesn't matter. We all have experience that we can pass on. I want to give a quick reference to a martial arts film, Karate Kid. See, in Karate Kid, there was a mentor, incredible mentor. Mr. Miyagi was his name, right? And then there was this young, impressionable man called Daniel. He went to Mr. Miyagi and said, I want to learn martial arts. Mr. Miyagi went, sure. So Daniel started doing probably 1,000 push-ups like I was doing, running around the ring, and he was ready to go on the mats and start punching. And Mr. Miyagi went, no, like, here's a brush, like, sweep up. Daniel was like, okay, that's a bit strange, like, I thought I was fighting, but okay. He did that, swept up really well, and then he was like, okay, now I'm ready to train. And then Mr. Miyagi was like, no, here's a cloth, like, clean up. And that's where the famous term wax on, wax off comes from. See, Daniel, young, impressionable, had an idea of what martial arts looked like. Mr. Miyagi did it his whole life. He was probably 70, 80 at the time. He knew the transformative power of martial arts and how it can shape and change your life. I'm not just teaching techniques and punches. I'm teaching you how to become a better person. So I've been fortunate, super fortunate. Away from my parents, I've had mentors in academia. I've had mentors in relationships. I've had mentors in every asset of my life. But all young people are not as fortunate. Statistics say 1 in 3 young people will not have a mentor. And even more worrying is what that leads to. A lack of a mentor or no mentor or a positive mentor, that's an important part, can lead to reduced self-esteem, reduced academic success, and a higher likelihood of being engaged in criminal activity or being involved in the criminal justice system. That one really hit home, like when I saw that statistic. A higher likelihood being involved in the criminal justice system. And it hit home because I see it. We work in areas impacted by crime and social unrest. And I see how easy it is to get involved in some of that stuff. But also, I see how easy it is to become involved in the negativity because there's not a lot of forward-facing, positive mentors giving advice and guidance to a lot of these young people. If we're from these areas, I implore you all to kind of go back, whether it's a community club, whether it's me and my organization, and just let these young people know that after the darkness, there is light and you can belong to something positive. Because as humans, we have a tribalistic element to belong. We support football clubs and don't watch football. We belong to social groups, secret societies, whatever it might be. We want to belong, that's what I'm saying. And these young people are no different. But if there's not positive groups, then they're gonna yearn towards criminality or more negativity. Karate Kid reference to last Karate Kid reference. John Kreese from Karate Kid, you're not gonna watch it after this, I'll probably boost the sales. John Kreese from the Karate Kid, he also had a young man come into his dojo. Same kind of young person, impressionable, I wanna do martial arts. John Kreese is like, well, let's do it. He was more about the physicality, I would say, but his philosophy and his ideals were about no mercy. He was about running through people. Don't care about people, care about yourself. And what's interesting is that baton of negativity can also spread. Because that young person then grew up with his peers, then they was violent in the streets, and then the ones under them was violent. See, just how positivity can spread, just how the power of one can be the strength of many, negativity can spread too. It's up to us to kind of wean that out and be that positive driver and be that positive force, especially in this day and age where criminalization, just to be honest, and gang activity is glamorized. It's glamorized on media, it's glamorized online, it's just glamorized. And it's so easy in these areas impacted by crime to get sucked into it. I know, because I was. At 17 years old, I was arrested. I came away from the positive path, even with a great support network. Now, without getting into the arrest, what it actually did though, because I mentioned my mom and my dad who were positive, I had a whole network of positive people around me. They didn't know that I came away from martial arts. They didn't know I was hanging around a certain audience. They didn't know anything. The arrest highlighted that to them. And what they did, they thought I was running a complete different race with a complete different baton. They got involved again, more involved, more proactive. My dad got me back into martial arts. My mom helped me write my letter, I forget what it's called, the letter for university. Like my friend got me a job at B&Q at the time. Like they supported me though, to get away from the path I was going down. In my darkest, they showed me the light. They showed it me, I didn't see it. They showed me the light and that stayed with me. So after university, I came out and I said, you know what? I'm from the areas that a lot of these young people are from. I saw my friends and peers go to prison or worse sometimes. I want to be that guiding light for young people. And I said, I'm going to stand up and mentor young people. We're going to do martial arts as well, because that's been a big part of my life for young people. And I'm happy to say, since it started, I've mentored hundreds of young people. But what's even more beautiful is what they've gone on to do. And so I just want to salute them for a second. And also, I want to give you a case study of one of these young people in particular. See, this young person was faced with something that we would all struggle with, a near-death experience. I got a call and it said he was stabbed, and he was stabbed millimeters from his heart. In total, he was stabbed about 6 times. A few days later, I called him just to check in on him. I said, how you doing? He said, Daryl, I'm doing okay. I want to make sure, though, that this doesn't happen to my little brother. I want to make sure this doesn't happen to any more young people. Daryl, that's why I want to be a mentor. A moment that stays with me, that moment stayed with me. At his darkest, he chose the baton of experience. Not easy to do. And he said, you know what? I'm going to pass this down. At the age of 16, in his hospital bed, he said, I'm making a conscious decision to be a mentor. And he will impact hundreds of thousands of young people through his experience, through his talk, and through where he's been and the stuff that he's been through. And that's really where we come to about the power of one and the strength of many, because that young man and his experience and the relatability, that baton that he's going to pass on will stay and reside forever. Mentorship, everybody. Again, I'm encouraging you all to really think about your baton today. Be intentional with your baton today, just like that young man. See, also what I hear a lot is the next generation is doomed. I don't want my young people growing up in this generation. I would say, what are you doing about it? Like, really look at yourself and say, what are you doing about it? Because it's not the next generation. It's our tribe. We're here. We're the same generation. Like, what are we doing to improve the world right now? Mentorship might not be the answer, but it's a answer that can transform a person's life, a community's life, the society. My belief, it can change the world. Because really, I talk about the power of one, the strength of many, but the power of you and you and you can be the strength of the world. Thank you.